Hi, welcome to Home Farm. Today we're reviewing the Eve Outdoor Security Camera.
So we recently installed the Eve Security Cam over here because we've just put in a shed, and as you can see we've also got an open garage here. So it's really important that we have security and visual security in this area, because obviously there's a lot of tools and things there. We do kind of close the shed, but we don't lock it. So it's important for us to just have that security and peace of mind.
In addition to that, the previous owners had a spotlight that was located above the garage, and that was just a bog standard spotlight that had a motion sensor on it. So in the course of an evening, if there was a lot of wind or if there was any activity, that spotlight would keep going on and off. The Eve outdoor camera also has a floodlight, but it is a smart floodlight. So basically now it's fulfilling two roles. One, it's working as a floodlight. Two, it's working as a security camera.
I just really like how customizable it is as a camera. It's really, really great how many settings and different things you can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, you can set it to do anything that you actually want it to do, whether it's recording at a certain time, whether you want to record certain different types of motion. So the camera detects people, it detects cars, it detects animals, and it detects parcels. So if you receive a lot of Amazon parcels, for example, you can just get the notifications just for those if you're not bothered about cars or people. There's any number of combinations that you can actually do and set up. Apple HomeKit Secure video is very private. So there's a lot of cameras out on the market that have got cloud services and all the rest of it. This really does take your privacy into account. So basically, even if you're just using the camera to live stream, so if you have received a notification and it's not recording and you're live streaming off your phone, that is not going through any cloud service. It's basically a connection to connection. Yes, yeah, so it's an encrypted connection between the camera and your phone. So you're the only person that can actually see that. The same thing applies to the actual recording. So if it does record to Apple iCloud, those videos that are actually recorded are only visible by yourself or the other people that you've actually invited to be part of your HomeKit network. So for example, you're on that. So if the camera does record, I can access it, you can access it, but nobody else will be able to. So even though there isn't a subscription package that's required to actually run this camera, because you're using the Apple HomeKit Secure video, there is an iCloud payment that is involved. So if you just want to have the free version, that doesn't actually record to iCloud, so you can only live stream. If you have the 50 GB package, it allows you to have one camera installed. If you've got the 200 GB package, it allows you to have 5 cameras installed. We've got the 2 terabyte package. That means that we can have an unlimited amount of cameras that are actually connected to our secure video. There are a lot of ways to actually set this camera up in terms of what you want it to record. We basically set ours up to just record all activity so that we can keep a reference of that. That gets recorded, as we said, to the iCloud. That gets stored there for 10 days, and you can basically use that period of time to try and pull or download any video that you've actually accrued over that time.
We've done quite a number of Eve product reviews up until this point, and I always say the same thing. They're packaged well, they kind of look like they're an Apple affiliate or an Apple subsidiary company because they're so similar in their designs. Very slick, very minimalist, very clean, and this camera is no exception. It's exactly the same, very, very simple in its design. And we just like the fact that it just is it's a slim one. It's kind of stands upright. It's not landscape, it's kind of portrait if you like. So you've got the light and then the camera at the bottom, and it just kind of fits into like a small space, quite compact. And I just think it's just a really nice one because it's not really that visible and that noticeable. Certainly I've noticed that since we've put it up and taken down our old security light, when I even walk up the driveway, I don't even see it. I just don't even look at it. Whereas before, the old kind of ugly spotlight we had on top of the garage, I kind of constantly looked up at it. So it's just really nice because it kind of just disappears into your building.
Eve actually recommend that you replace an existing light fixture with this camera. And the reason for that is because you've already got the electrics that are running to there. We kind of did that with our installation because we already had the electrics running to that, but we just rediverted the cables down to the other side and then connected the camera to those cables. The installation itself was pretty easy, but it was quite fiddly at the end purely because it basically works on a 3-point kind of axis, so you can position the camera in whichever angle and direction you want it to be in to actually face, which is great. But getting it into that position was a little bit fiddly, and there's that little bolt that you have to get in right at the end. It's a very tight space. I've got pretty big fingers, so trying to get in there and actually trying to turn that was a bit fiddly. We eventually got it done. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
a little bit of a hassle.
Just be prepared to have a little bit of patience towards the end. So when you get it out, it's going to look simple. You're going to connect it to the wire. That's going to be really simple and straightforward. Figure out where to put it, nice and simple. But then when you actually start to mount it onto the wall, it can get fiddly.
Yeah.
So just give yourself time. Don't do it in a rush or in a busy afternoon when you're really, really, rushed to push for time. Give yourself, a good half an hour of just fiddling around and getting frustrated, because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then just know that you will get through it, and it will happen, and something will click, and it will just go into place.
Yeah.
And then you can have a nice big sigh of relief, and then it's done. There's nothing else to fiddle with or do. So it's just that last hurdle. And I would love it if they had just addressed that.
Yeah.
Eve are so good with their designs. Their designs are so slick, as I've said so many times before, and they really do spend an awful lot of time in R&D looking at their designs. And I just wish that they had just pushed that a little bit further and made it a little bit easier for people to do, because as you said, it is a bit fiddly.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that you can't install this camera upside down. A lot of security cameras, you can do that. This one has to be positioned the way that it's actually designed to do, so the lights at the top and the lens at the bottom, purely because, according to Eve's documentation, if you do install it upside down, the water can get in, but if you just position it the right way around, there's no chance of water getting in. We did have some teething issues at the outset from a Wi-Fi and connectivity perspective. We've got quite a lot of Wi-Fi coverage outside. We've got other devices that are connected to the Wi-Fi with no issue. This did have a bit of a problem in actually staying connected, so we basically get a lot of notifications saying it's going on and off, on and off. So you do want to ensure that you have got a reliable 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection to wherever you're going to actually connect the camera. You can change the brightness of the floodlight. When we set it to maximum, it's pretty bright, but there's also an additional option that you can actually push a button which basically boosts the light. That basically makes it shine brighter for a period of time. So maybe if there has been a notification and you want to maybe shine the light a little bit further, by pressing that button will illuminate that area a little bit more. You've got a couple of different options to actually access your camera footage. So you can either do that through the Eve app, or you can do it through your HomeKit app on your mobile phone, on your iPad, on your Apple TV, on your laptop, whatever it is, whatever Apple product you've got. So you can basically view the footage, you can view the recordings from any of those devices. The camera also has two-way communication, so if there is somebody at the gate or near your front door and you actually want to talk to them, you can do that. And the other feature that I really like is that it's got automations. So maybe if you've got multiple cameras that are set up and one of them triggers, you can actually set the others for all the lights to go on.
Wow.
Or any number of different things that you actually want them to do. So if there is any motion and you want it to trigger some different response to a different HomeKit enabled product, you can do that.
Another thing that I think is really, really cool is that it's got face recognition. So basically on your iPhotos, so where you've got people recognized and you can, go to your photos and then you can, hit, Mars and see all his pictures, or Kirsten, then you can also, that's how the camera kind of recognizes people.
There's a setting for that in the actual app.
It's really clever, so that the camera can actually say, oh, Mars has been to the front door, or Mars has walked past. So it actually kind of acknowledges that it's that person. So it's very, very clever that it hooks up to your photos and kind of recognizes people, and you can create kind of almost like a library. So it's almost really worth actually making sure that you kind of have the regular people that are coming to your property in your photos recognized with their name, because that's just so handy.
I think it's a great feature, because if you do get a notification saying that I've gone past the gate or whatever it is, then Kirsten will know that. But if it comes up as an anonymous person, then you kind of know that it's worth investigating or seeing who it is. And I think it's particularly helpful if you've got children. Because you can see whether your kids have come home, so you don't have to worry about that. Saying so and so's come back, they've gone past the camera. It's just a really nice feature.
So if you've got any questions about the Eve security cam, please feel free to leave them below, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We really hope that you found this video useful and interesting, and if you did, please subscribe, ring the bell, and we hope to see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.